She walked through the front door after Cancun looking like someone who'd hit a reset button on life. Her skin was sunbronzed, her hair had fresh highlights, and she carried that unmistakable glow people get after the best week they've had in years. The kind of glow you can't fake. "So how was the trip?" I asked, setting my beer down on the counter. "Incredible," Laura said, letting her suitcase thud against the stairs. "The resort was unreal. The beach, the food, the spa, everything." She smiled and added, "Honestly, babe, it was exactly what I needed." Then she leaned in, kissed my cheek real quick, distracted, almost rushed, and headed upstairs to unpack. That's when I noticed her phone. It was sitting face down on the kitchen counter. She never left it like that. A couple hours later, there was a knock at the door. When I opened it, Daniel Park was standing on my porch. His suit was wrinkled like he'd slept in it. His eyes were red. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. Daniel was married to Olivia, Laura's best friend. They'd been together 12 years, had 2 kids, the kind of marriage everyone else quietly compared themselves to and came up short. "Daniel?" I said. "You okay, man?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stared past me, straight into the house. "Is Laura here?" "Yeah, she just got back from Cancun," he cut in. "I know where she got back from." His voice cracked. "I need to talk to her. Now." Something about the way he said it made my stomach drop. "What's going on?" I asked. He pulled out his phone and turned the screen toward me. It was a photo taken at a beach resort. Sunset in the background. 2 women in sundresses, drinks in their hands, smiling for the camera. Laura and Olivia. But behind them, slightly blurry, but impossible to miss, were 2 men. One had his arm wrapped around Laura's waist. The other was leaning very close to Olivia in an intimate way. "That photo," Daniel said, his voice shaking, "was taken 4 days ago. A couple from Cincinnati thought they recognized my wife. They sent it to me this morning." My mouth went dry. "There's more," he said quietly, swiping to the next image. This one showed Laura and the same guy, fingers intertwined, walking into a hotel room together. "His name's Mateo," Daniel said. "He's a bartender at the resort. Olivia met him 2 years ago on a work trip." He swallowed hard. "She's been going back every few months." Then he looked at me, and 6 months ago, his voice trailed off. What I saw in his eyes wasn't anger anymore. It was pity. She started bringing Laura. The room felt like it tilted sideways. Daniel dropped his voice to a whisper. "I hired a private investigator. I've got videos. Receipts. Text messages. This wasn't a mistake, it was a system. Girls' trips to Cancun. Miami. Scottsdale. Except they weren't girls' trips. It was them and their boyfriends." He handed me his phone. "I thought you should know before I filed the papers." I stared at the screen. At my wife's face. Lit up in a way I hadn't seen in years. Not for me. For a bartender named Mateo. Behind me, I heard footsteps on the stairs. "Babe, who's at the..." Laura stopped cold when she saw Daniel. The glow vanished from her face in seconds. "Daniel?" she whispered. "What are you doing here?" He didn't answer. He just looked at me. I held up his phone. "Want to explain this?" If you want to know what happened after I played the videos Daniel's PI recorded, hit subscribe. Because what I saw made one thing clear: my wife wasn't just cheating. She was living a whole second life, and I'd been paying for it for 2 years. My name is Ryan Cooper. I'm 38 years old. I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a software engineer at a mid-sized tech company. It's a solid job. Steady paycheck. Nothing flashy, but comfortable. I met Laura 9 years ago at a friend's wedding. She was a bridesmaid. I was a groomsman. We danced. We laughed. We swapped numbers. 6 months later, we were engaged. She checked all the boxes. Smart. Funny. Driven. She worked in marketing for a boutique agency downtown. We bought a house in South Austin. 3 bedrooms. A backyard. A mortgage that didn't keep me up at night. The first few years were good, really good. We had routines. Sunday farmers markets. Thursday taco nights. Annual camping trips out to Big Bend. We talked about kids. Maybe in a few years, once her career settled down. I thought we were building a future together. Turns out, she was building something too. Just not with me. The girls' trip started about 2 years ago. Laura and Olivia had been best friends since college. Inseparable. Sunday brunches. Weekly yoga. Constant texting. So when Olivia suggested a weekend in Cancun, I didn't hesitate. Work's been insane, Laura told me. I just need a few days to decompress. You don't mind, right? Of course not, I said. You deserve it. She kissed me and smiled. You're the best. That first trip was short, Thursday to Sunday. She came home relaxed, happy, full of stories about the beach, the resort, the margaritas. We should go together sometime, she said. You'd love it. Definitely, I said. We never did. 3 months later, there was another girls' trip. This time to Miami. Then Scottsdale. Then Cancun again. Olivia's having a rough time, Laura explained. She needs me. I didn't question it. Olivia's marriage looked solid from the outside. And who really knows what goes on behind closed doors? I thought I was being a good husband. Supportive. Understanding. I had no idea I was being played. The trips followed a routine. Booked weeks ahead. Always Thursday to Sunday. Always all-inclusive resorts. She packed light. Sundresses. Bikinis. Sandals. Her vacation wardrobe. The night before she left, we'd go out to dinner. She'd be energized, talkative, already halfway gone mentally. I'll miss you, she'd say, kissing me goodbye at the airport. Miss you too. Have fun. And she did. While she was away, the texts came sparingly. Beach shots. Pool photos. Her and Olivia holding drinks. Wish you were here. I'd reply with something supportive. Looks amazing. Enjoy. When she got home, she'd be glowing. Tan. Relaxed. Energized. We were suddenly very close again that first night back, like something had been reset. I thought it was the vacation. It wasn't. It was guilt. About 6 months ago, I started noticing small things. New lingerie. Expensive stuff. Lace. Delicate. The kind she never wore for me. When did you get this? I asked one day while folding laundry. Olivia and I went shopping before the last trip, she said, like it was nothing. She claimed it was on sale, but the tags were still attached, and the price didn't look anything like a discount. That was the first crack. Then there were the receipts. I wasn't digging through her stuff or snooping behind her back. I was doing something normal, organizing our credit card statements for tax season. That's when the numbers started bothering me. $300 at a beachside restaurant for 2 people at an all-inclusive resort where food was supposed to be covered. $150 at a spa, even though she told me the resort spa was overpriced and not worth it. $200 at a nightclub, even though Laura had never liked clubs. None of it lined up. When I asked her about the charges, she didn't hesitate. The explanations came fast, smooth, rehearsed. We went off the resort one night, wanted to see the local scene. The spa charge was for Olivia, I paid and she paid me back. The club was Olivia's idea. I barely drank. Every answer slid neatly into place. I wanted to believe her. So I did. Then came the Cancun trip 3 weeks ago. This time, Laura was different. More energized. More excited than usual. She bought new clothes, scheduled a hair appointment, even booked a spray tan before leaving. "You look amazing," I told her. "Thanks, babe," she said, leaning in for a quick kiss while already scrolling on her phone. "Who are you texting?" "Just coordinating with Olivia. Making sure we're on the same flight." She left early Thursday morning. I dropped her at the airport at 6 a.m., the sky barely light. "Love you," she said, grabbing her suitcase. "Love you too. Be safe." She disappeared into the terminal, and I drove home through quiet Austin streets, carrying a knot in my chest I couldn't explain. Something felt off, even then. While she was gone, everything felt different. The texts came less often. The photos looked generic: beaches, sunsets, stuff that could have been pulled from a travel website. Nothing personal. Nothing real. When I called, her voice sounded distant. "Hey, babe. How's it going?" "Good. Just got back from the beach. About to grab dinner." "With Olivia?" "Yeah. And some people we met here. Nice couple from Dallas." "That's great. Miss you." "Miss you too. Gotta go, the food's here." She hung up before I could say goodbye. I stared at my phone as that unease sharpened into something heavier. Sunday afternoon, I picked her up from the airport. She looked incredible. Rested. Glowing. Happy in a way that made my chest tighten. "How was it?" I asked as she climbed into the passenger seat. "Perfect," she said, kissing me. "Exactly what I needed." On the drive home, she talked about the resort, the beach, the food. All surface-level details, like she was reciting a brochure. "Did you and Olivia do anything special?" "Not really. Just relaxed. We went snorkeling one day and found this amazing ceviche place." "Sounds great." It was. She turned toward the window, smiling at her phone. "Who's that?" "Just Olivia. Sending photos from the trip." But the smile didn't match the answer. That wasn't a friendly smile. That was the smile of someone holding onto a secret. That night, after she unpacked and showered, we went out to dinner. She was lively. Laughing. Reaching across the table to touch my hand. "I'm so glad I went," she said. "I feel like a whole new person." "I can tell," I said. "You seem really happy." "I am." Later, in bed, she initiated sex. It was intense. Passionate. Different from how things had been lately. Afterward, she fell asleep fast, curled up against me. I didn't sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, trying to convince myself that nothing was wrong. At 2 in the morning, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I glanced over. A notification lit up the screen. "Mateo, already missing you, Hermosa. Can't wait for next time." My blood turned to ice. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. The screen went dark again. I stayed there until morning, my thoughts spiraling, replaying those words over and over. Who the hell was Mateo? I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I did what any man in my position would do. I started looking. Monday morning, after Laura left for work, I opened her laptop. She'd left it on the kitchen counter, still logged in. I felt sick doing it, like I was crossing a line. But I couldn't stop. I opened her email and searched his name. Mateo. Dozens of messages appeared, going back 6 months. I clicked the first one. "Can't stop thinking about you. Counting the days until you're back in my arms." My stomach twisted, but I kept reading. "Olivia says you're coming in March. I already requested the days off. We'll have the whole weekend." I bought something for you, I think it'll make you smile. Thank you for last night. You make me feel alive. I leaned back in the chair, hands shaking. This wasn't a slip-up. This wasn't a mistake. This was a full-blown relationship. I kept digging. Hotel confirmations, not for the all-inclusive resorts she told me about, but for a boutique hotel in downtown Cancun. Adults only. Romantic suites. Booked in her name. Then I found Venmo payments. Transfers to someone labeled Mateo Cancun. 200. 150. 300. The descriptions were emojis, hearts, fire, cocktails. Her cloud storage was next. Photos of her and Mateo everywhere, on the beach, at restaurants, and in private hotel rooms. He was tan, good-looking, younger than me. In one picture, he was kissing her neck while she laughed. In another, they were holding hands, walking along the shore at sunset. She looked happier than I'd ever seen her. I closed the laptop and sat alone in the quiet kitchen, trying to wrap my head around it. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was in love with someone else. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to scream. To throw the laptop across the room. To call her and demand answers. But another part of me, the part shaped by years of debugging code, knew I needed more data. I needed the full picture before I acted. So I kept going. I went back through our credit card statements and found charges I'd overlooked. Flights to Cancun that didn't match her group booking story. Restaurant bills and bar tabs in the hotel zone. Uber rides to addresses I didn't recognize. I matched the dates against her calendar. Every girl's trip lined up with a stay at that boutique hotel. Every weekend with Olivia was really a weekend with Mateo. For 2 years, my wife had been living a double life. And I had been paying for it. That's when Daniel knocked on my door. I was sitting at my desk, staring at spreadsheets full of evidence, when I heard the knock. When I opened the door, Daniel Park stood there looking wrecked. Like someone who hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, and hadn't figured out how to breathe yet. Daniel. I said. You all right? He didn't look at me. His eyes slid straight past my shoulder, scanning the house. Is Laura here? Yeah, she just got back from Cancun. I know. His jaw was tight, his voice controlled in a way that scared me more than yelling would have. Something's wrong, I said. What is it? Without a word, he pulled out his phone and held it up. The image on the screen hit me like vertigo. Laura and Olivia, framed by a tropical sunset, cocktails raised, smiling like they didn't have a care in the world. And behind them, 2 men. One of them had his arm wrapped around Laura's waist like it belonged there. The other was bent toward Olivia, lips pressed against her neck. That photo was taken 4 days ago, Daniel said. A couple from Cincinnati thought they recognized my wife. They sent it to me this morning. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. Daniel swiped again. Laura and Mateo. Hand in hand. Walking into a hotel. I hired a private investigator, he said. Videos. Receipts. Messages. All of it. This has been going on for 2 years. He finally looked at me. There was no anger left in his eyes. Just exhaustion. And pity. I wanted you to know before I filed. Footsteps creaked behind me. Babe, who's at the? Laura stopped mid-sentence when she saw Daniel. The color drained from her face so fast it was almost impressive. Daniel? She said quietly. Why are you here? He didn't answer. I lifted his phone. Care to explain this? The silence stretched. Thick. Heavy. Laura's eyes bounced between us like she was looking for an exit that didn't exist. Ryan, Don't, I said. Don't even start. Her lips parted, then closed again. Daniel stepped forward. Where's Olivia? At home, I think. No. She's not. He shook his head. She's at a hotel with our kids. She walked out on me this morning. Laura went pale. She what? She said she was done. Said she loved someone else. Said our marriage was over. Daniel stared at her. Did you know? Laura didn't answer. Daniel exhaled sharply. How long have you been helping her cheat on me? I wasn't. Stop lying, he snapped. You covered for her. Every trip. Every excuse. Every time I asked if something was wrong and you told me no. You helped her burn my life down. Laura took a step back. Daniel, I'm sorry. Sorry? His laugh was broken. My kids don't understand why their mom isn't coming home. My son cried himself to sleep last night. And you're sorry? I set the phone down, my hands shaking. Daniel, maybe we should. No. He turned to me. You need to see this. You need all of it. He opened a video and hit play. The footage showed a restaurant by the beach. Nighttime. String lights swaying in the wind. Laura and Olivia sat across from two men, Mateo and another guy. They were young. Fit. The kind of men who looked like vacation brochures. They laughed. Drank. Leaned into each other. Mateo's hand rested casually on Laura's thigh, like it had done that 1,000 times before. They didn't look like people sneaking around. They looked like couples. The video followed them as they left dinner and walked along the shoreline, arms wrapped around waists. Then they split up. Olivia headed one way. Laura another. The camera stayed on Laura. She and Mateo walked through a hotel lobby, into an elevator, down a long hallway. At a door, Mateo unlocked the room. Laura turned and kissed him in a way that made their relationship unmistakably clear. Not a goodbye kiss. A love kiss. The screen went black. I couldn't feel my hands. Or my chest. Or anything below my neck. There are more, Daniel said quietly. Same thing. Different days. I turned to Laura. She was crying without making a sound. How long? I asked. Ryan. How long? 2 years, she whispered. 2 years. Every number stacked itself in my head. Every trip. Every excuse. Every lie. Daniel looked at her. And Olivia? 3 years. Daniel staggered. Our youngest just turned 3. The question hung there. Is he mine? Laura said nothing. Is he mine? I don't know. She shouted. Olivia doesn't know either. She never tested him. Daniel grabbed the doorframe to stay upright. Oh God. I don't remember him leaving. 1 second he was there. The next, he wasn't. It was just me and Laura. She reached for me. Ryan, please. Stop. My voice surprised me with how calm it sounded. There's nothing left to explain. You cheated on me. For 2 years. You lied to my face. You used our money to live a second life. That's it. It's not that simple. It really is. She stepped toward me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Ryan, I love you. No. You loved what I gave you. The house. The security. The safety net. But you don't love me. That's not true. Then why him? Why lie? Why not leave? She couldn't answer. I grabbed my keys. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. We need to talk. No, we don't. You already made your choice. Now I'm making mine. I walked out and didn't look back. I drove until Austin blurred past me. Downtown. The lake. The hills. No destination. I stopped at an overlook and stared at the city lights. My phone buzzed. Please come home. I ignored it. Another message. I know I messed up. We can fix this. Fix it. Like a glitch. Like a bug you patch and forget. Another buzz. I love you. It was a mistake. A mistake is forgetting milk at the store. 2 years of lies wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a mistake. It was a decision. And I made one of my own. I powered my phone off and let the silence take over. I didn't go back home that night. I couldn't. Instead, I checked into a hotel near the airport, one of those extended stay places meant for people between lives. Small kitchenette. Pull-out couch. Beige walls that felt temporary, like everything else in my world. I lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, replaying everything on a loop. My wife had been living a second life. My marriage wasn't cracked, it was fake. The version of my life I believed in didn't exist. At some point, exhaustion won. When I woke up, the clock read 6:02 a.m. My phone lit up with notifications I already expected. 17 missed calls from Laura. 1 text from Daniel. I filed this morning. My lawyer says you should do the same. I'm sorry, man. I stared at that message longer than I want to admit. Then I opened my laptop and typed 4 words into the search bar: divorce attorney, Austin, Texas. That's how I found Emily Carter. Former prosecutor. Family law. Her website was stripped down, no smiling couples, no fake promises. Just a headshot and a single line: protecting your rights. Preserving your dignity. I called at 8 sharp. Carter Law, how can I help you? I need to file for divorce. There was no hesitation on the other end. Okay. Tell me a little about what's going on. I gave her the short version. 9 years married. 2 years of cheating. Solid evidence. Any children? No. Shared assets? House. 2 cars. Joint accounts. All right. I can see you today at 2. I didn't hesitate. I'll be there. Her office was just outside downtown, clean, professional, nothing flashy. Emily Carter herself was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, steady, the kind of woman who didn't waste words. Mr. Cooper, she said, shaking my hand. Start from the beginning. So I did. I told her about the trips. The excuses. Daniel. The PI. I showed her everything: emails, receipts, photos pulled from Laura's laptop. She listened without reacting, taking notes, her face giving nothing away. When I finished, she set her pen down. This is a strong case. Texas is a no-fault state, she continued, but adultery still matters when it comes to dividing assets. With this level of proof, we can argue she violated the marriage financially. What does that actually mean? It means you may be entitled to more than half: house equity, vehicles, retirement accounts. And we can also pursue reimbursement. I blinked. Reimbursement? Yes. If she used marital funds to support an affair, the court can require her to pay it back. It's called dissipation of marital assets. For the first time since everything blew up, I felt something crack through the numbness. Not relief. Not happiness. But hope. Emily walked me through the process: filing, service, discovery, mediation, trial if necessary. How long does this usually take? Minimum 60 days, she said. But contested cases can stretch to a year. And if she fights, we push back. Then she leaned forward. I've been doing this for 20 years. Your wife will downplay the affair. She'll say it was a mistake. She'll claim she deserves half because she contributed to the marriage. He paused. But she didn't. And we'll prove that. Are you ready for this to get ugly? I nodded. I'm ready. She slid a contract across the desk. Then let's begin. I signed. Laura was served the next day, at her office. I wasn't there for it. She called me immediately. I ignored it. Then again. And again. Eventually, I sent one text, "Talk to my lawyer." Her reply came fast. "Ryan, please. We can fix this. Don't do this." I didn't respond. An hour later, she showed up at my hotel. I still don't know how she found me. Credit card records. Guessing. Desperation. At 8 that night, there was a knock on my door. "Ryan, please. Let me in." I opened the door but stayed where I was. "What do you want?" "I need to talk." "There's nothing left to say." "Yes, there is." Her eyes were red, swollen. "I made a mistake, a huge one, but we can fix this." "No, we can't." "Ryan, please. You cheated on me for 2 years, Laura. You lied. You stole from us to fund your affair. That doesn't get fixed." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" I said. "Explain it. Make me understand." She couldn't. I started to close the door. She put her hand against it. "I love you." "No, you don't." "I do. I know I screwed up, but I love you. I want to save our marriage." I looked at her closely then. And what I saw wasn't love. It was panic. "You don't love me," I said quietly. "You love the life I gave you. And now that it's falling apart, you're scared." "That's not true." "Go home, Laura." "Ryan. Go home. And don't come back." I closed the door. She stood there for a while. I could see her shadow under the door. Then eventually, it disappeared. Over the next 2 weeks, Emily and I built the case piece by piece. Every receipt. Every flight. Every hotel. Every dinner. Every gift. When we totaled it up, the number made my stomach drop. $47,000. Nearly 50 grand of our money spent on another man. "We'll request full reimbursement," Emily said, "plus a larger share of the house equity." Will we win? Depends on the judge. But with this evidence, we've got a real shot. A few days later, Laura's lawyer contacted Emily. They wanted mediation. No trial. "What do you think?" I asked. "I think they're nervous," Emily said. "They know what this looks like in court." "What should I do?" "That's your call. Trial could get you more. Mediation ends this faster." I thought about months of courtrooms. About hearing Laura's lawyer twist the story. About the emotional cost. "Let's mediate," I said. "But I'm not backing down on reimbursement." Emily nodded. "Fair enough." The mediation was scheduled downtown. Neutral ground. A conference room. A mediator whose job was to keep things from exploding. Laura was sitting across the table from me, her attorney glued to her side. She looked different than I remembered, smaller somehow, worn down, like life had finally caught up with her. The mediator cleared his throat and got us started, explaining that we were there to settle the terms of the divorce and divide everything up. Emily spoke first, calm and direct. She stated our position clearly: I would keep the house. Laura would keep her car. We would split the retirement accounts evenly. And on top of that, Laura would repay $47,000, the money she'd spent on her affair. Her lawyer immediately pushed back, calling it unreasonable. Emily didn't even blink. She cut him off and explained that every expense was documented, every dollar tracked. Flights, hotels, meals, gifts, all charged to joint accounts while Laura was actively cheating. The mediator turned to Laura and asked her if that was accurate. She didn't argue. She just nodded, barely lifting her eyes. In that moment, the mediator agreed it was a fair request. Laura's lawyer tried to haggle. First 20,000. Then 30. Emily refused to move an inch. Full reimbursement, or we take this to court. That's when Laura finally spoke up. Her voice was flat, almost lifeless. Fine. I'll pay it. Her lawyer looked stunned, but she didn't care. She said she just wanted it over with. We signed everything that same day. I walked away with the house. She kept her car and half the retirement accounts. She agreed to pay back the full $47,000 over 2 years. The divorce would be final after the mandatory 60-day waiting period. As we were leaving the room, Laura reached out and grabbed my arm. Ryan, Don't, I said. It's done. She tried anyway. She told me she was sorry. I looked at her one last time and told her the truth, being sorry doesn't undo what you did. Then I walked away. 60 days later, the paperwork showed up in the mail. Signed. Official. Finished. I sat alone in the house, my house now, and stared at those pages. 9 years of marriage, boiled down to legal language and signatures. I thought it would feel like relief. Instead, it felt hollow. So I buried myself in work. Long hours. Extra projects. Late nights. Anything to avoid sitting alone in that quiet house with my thoughts. Daniel and I kept talking. He was dealing with his own nightmare. Olivia had admitted to the affair and admitted she wasn't sure if their youngest kid was even his. He demanded a paternity test. 2 weeks later, the results came back. The boy was his. Daniel cried when he told me. It was relief and pain all tangled together. At least I know, he said. At least he's mine. Olivia didn't fight the divorce. She moved to Cancun to be with the bartender she'd been seeing. She left her kids behind. Daniel got full custody. 6 months passed. My life looked the same on the outside, the same house, same car, same routine, but inside, I was just going through the motions. Then one Saturday, I was standing in Home Depot, staring at paint samples, when I heard my name. I turned around and saw Hannah. An old friend from college I hadn't seen in years. We hugged and caught up right there in the aisle. She just moved back to Austin after her own divorce. Before we split up, she asked if I wanted to grab coffee sometime. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into another date. Talking to her was easy. She didn't interrogate me about my past. She didn't push. She just listened. On our third date, we were walking by the lake when she stopped and asked if she could ask me something. She wanted to know if I was really okay. I told her the truth, I wasn't all the way there yet, but I was trying. She smiled and told me I deserved to be happy. For the first time in a long time, I believed someone when they said that. A year after the divorce, I sold the house. Too many memories. Too many ghosts. I bought a small condo downtown. Simple. Clean. Mine. Hannah helped me move. We painted walls, hung pictures, turned it into a home. One night, sitting on the balcony and watching the city lights, she told me what she admired most about me. She said I didn't let what happened destroy me. I told her it almost did. She squeezed my hand and said that's why it mattered. I ran into Laura once, about 2 years later. She was alone in a coffee shop downtown. The conversation was awkward and short. She asked how I was. I said good. She said she'd heard I was seeing someone. I told her I was. She said she was happy for me, but her eyes said something else. I told her to take care, and I walked out without looking back. 3 years after the divorce, Hannah and I got married. Small ceremony. Close friends. Daniel stood beside me as my best man. Watching Hannah walk toward me, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because I'd won. Not because Laura had paid. But because I chose to move forward and build something real. If you've ever been betrayed. If someone you trusted blew your life apart. If you've had to start over from nothing, this story's for you. Comment I rebuilt if this hit home. Subscribe for more stories about finding strength after everything falls apart. Because the best revenge isn't making them suffer. It's building a life so full that they no longer matter at all.